Hey guys, this is Nathan and welcome to the Gaming 4. Today in this Factorio tutorial, we're going to be going over how to automate the creation of red science packs. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this so important? Well, because in Factorio, the goal is to automate everything so that you don't have to do things yourself. As you guys may see, you can directly craft red science packs or science pack number 1s from the crafting menu, and it's pretty easy. They don't take too long, 5 seconds per science pack, but the issue is once you get into a lot of this other research, you end up having to create a lot of these science packs. And the thing is, you will never need to stop creating these science packs. Even as you progress through the tree, which is science, you always require the prerequisite science packs as you upgrade and keep getting better stuff. You always need the red science packs for everything you do, even the last thing that you need to research, which is rocket silo, which allows you to win the game. So how do we automate red science packs? So first thing you guys should notice from the last video, if you've been sticking with me, I have improved the setup a little bit. Nothing new. I've just automated the creation of copper plates. We've put in a mini stone furnace setup for those. We've also put in some electric mining drills for our copper. Previously, we were using the burner ones. Last video, you also saw I upgraded the coal mining setup, so we got quite a bit of coal now. And of course, we've got our electric power facility with our coal line running to that. So we've got dedicated power. You don't have to worry about it going down anytime soon. And essentially where we are is we've got iron coming out of that box and copper coming out of this box. So before we move on, we need to address the topic of automated crafting. And there's one specific type of item that we're going to be using that's actually new for us today. So this item can be found in the production section. It is the assembly machine. And this is assembly machine 1. You can upgrade this later on using some research to make it a little bit faster and more efficient, etc, etc. But essentially, let's go over how to craft one. It takes 9 iron plates, 5 iron gear wheels, 3 electronic circuits, and a total of 6.7 seconds. They're kind of expensive. They do take a lot of iron, I guess, per assembly machine. But the nice thing is they do the assembling and crafting of things for you. Now, the one issue with these assembly machines is you do have to feed them the exact materials that they need. They're kind of dumb. They can't pull them themselves. You have to pipe the materials to them. And today we're going to be going over how to automate the creation of these red science packs or science pack number 1. Now, I do have a very efficient setup, but I'm going to run you through just basically how these assembly machines work and a basic setup for you guys. Then I'll show you the efficient version. So the way that these assembly machines work, place them down. They've got a 3x3 area and you click on them and it gives you these tabs, kind of like your normal crafting menu. And from these tabs, you can choose what to create. Now, it's not as simple as just going to the intermediate products and clicking on science pack number 1. It's not quite that simple. There's at least one other step in between there. The reason for this is because it needs iron gear wheels first. Now, something that's interesting is we can just put iron gear wheels inside of this and put in the copper, and it does end up crafting us our science packs for us. Now, the issue is we need to get the iron gear wheels in there. And with what we're working with, which is just raw copper and raw iron, we actually have to create the iron gear wheels first. So what we can do is create a second one, click on iron gear wheel and give it iron, and then put an inserter from the first one into the second one, and that'll keep our iron gear wheels filled. Alright, so now as you guys can see, we can automate the process of creating red science packs just by hooking up multiple assembly machines. Now, there's obviously a couple ways to do that, and so today I'll be running quickly through how to create one of the best compact setups that I have been able to make, and then we'll explain how it works and why it's designed and laid out the way that it is. Alright guys, so before we go too much farther in the video, I'm going to be introducing to you 2 new items besides the assembly machine, and those are the long and the fast inserters. We got a couple of those in our inventory right now, and we're just going to go over how those differ from the normal inserter, and it should be pretty easy for you guys to understand. So one of the main differences between the long-headed inserter and the normal inserter that you guys should see right away is the distance from which the long inserter can insert things. So as you guys can see, a normal inserter will take from the line and insert to the arrow. In the same way, the long-headed inserter will take from the line and insert to the arrow. Now, of course, this distance is much greater, and because of that, the inserter seems to be moving a lot faster. But in reality, the animations happen pretty much at the same speed, and one is not faster than the other. The main difference is that the long-headed inserter has to insert over a longer distance. Now, the main difference between the fast inserter and the short inserter should be pretty obvious. The fast inserter inserts twice as fast as the normal inserter, and for this reason, it's really good to use in certain situations. Now, let's go go over their crafting recipes. The long-handed inserter costs 1 iron plate, 1 iron gear wheel, and 1 normal inserter with a total time of 3.2 seconds. The fast inserter takes 2 iron plates, 2 electronic circuits, and 1 inserter with an overall time of 5.2 seconds. The fast inserter does cost more and does craft a little bit longer. Also, something that's interesting to notice is that each of them use up a normal inserter when crafting. So if you guys keep an eye on my hotbar here, I've got 5 inserters, but as soon as I craft one, that moves down to 4. If I craft a long-handed inserter, it also uses 1 and we go down to 3. So just keep in mind that when crafting these upgraded inserters, it will take from your existing normal inserter supply and it will reduce those. So if you plan on using them later, you'll have to craft more of those as well. So let's move on to what my actual setup is for these red science packs. And here I have it here. It's not quite hooked up, but you guys can see the general layout. Now, as you guys can see, I'm leveraging the new long-handed inserters, and these are going to be very important for this setup. So let's hook up the last piece here. As you guys can see, we first have the iron gears being assembled in this machine here, and those are then inserted onto this track here, where half of it is going to be copper and the other half is going to be the iron gears. As this goes down the belt, the copper and the iron gears is all that the assembly machines need to create the science pack number 1s, and once those are created, those are going to be placed onto the far track using the long-handed inserter. After they're placed onto the far track, they are then moved up into our circle here, and this will connect directly to our lab setup. And if you guys are not familiar with that lab setup, I covered it in another video. If you go back a couple videos, you'll see it and you can freshen up on how that actually works. Now, what's interesting about this process is one single assembly machine for iron gear wheels is actually enough to keep up with all 5 of these red science pack assemblers. It's pretty interesting because the red science pack takes about 5 seconds to create and the iron gear takes about 0.5 seconds to create. So there's obviously a huge difference in crafting speeds here, and because of that, we're able to pull off 10 of these with a single iron gear creator. So you could potentially extend this another 4 assembly machines. Now, there's something interesting about this setup. Right now it's producing just over 1 science pack per second, and this is how I did the math. So you take how many science packs you want to create per second and multiply it by how long it takes to create that science pack. In this case, it's 1 times 5, and if we have 5 of these assembly machines, we will be creating 1 red science pack per second. Of course, we've got 6 here, so if we wanted to leave it at an even number, we could just remove that last one, and with these 5 working together, we will be creating 1 per second. I would suggest when you initially start the game, trying to stick to a standard of 1 per second or something related to that. If you try to go much higher, like 2 per second, you end up running into some issues later in the game when you have to create the higher tiers of science packs. Now, it is kind of important to create an even amount of science packs per second. Now, the reason for this is because as you keep researching, you'll need an even amount of all types of science packs involved. So even though we've created red science packs a long time ago, we'll still need an even amount of red, green, and blue science packs to finish this research. And this means we should try to keep all of our science pack creation rates at the same rate or speed. So for example, if we're creating 1 red science pack per second, but 2 green science packs per second, we're obviously creating too many green science packs. Our research won't ever be able to keep up with those greens, and we'll be constantly waiting on the red science packs to finish crafting. So it's really important to come up with a standard there and stick to that standard for every type of science pack. I would highly suggest 1 science pack per second. So anyway, guys, this is the most compact setup I've come up with. Obviously, it's very vertical. You could flip all of this 90 degrees, either heading out to the right or heading out to the left, and make it more horizontal. But essentially, this is the most compact version of this setup that I've been able to create. So hopefully you guys have learned both how assembly machines work, also how long-handed and fast inserters work. Those are very useful and we'll be using them sometime in the future. This setup is probably one of the best ones I can create, but of course, if you guys have a better setup, please let me know in the comments and maybe get on a Discord. I will create a channel just for compact Factorio setups, and I'll be interested to see what you guys can create, because of course you can almost always improve things in Factorio. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it or learned something, and please subscribe if you want to see some more. I will see you all later.